I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just want to issue major spoiler alert. We are going to be going over everything that happened in Season 2, Episode 1 of The Last of Us series. So if you haven't watched that episode yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Max, check out that episode, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything from Season 2, Episode 1 of The Last of Us series, it's Jon Jon Rico!
Hey!
Hey!
We're back.
We are back.
I mean, we never left, but the show's back.
Yeah, we were just here the whole time. This is we live here. This is it.
Yeah, we never left. Just kind of sat here waiting for the next season to start.
I mean, that's just what we do. I mean, we have so much content going at the same time. I mean, we're just, at this point, we're just going to be recording every single day. So
You see those like Black Mirror ads of the celebrities just going like this, and they're like,
yeah.
I
started. Don't even get me started on the new season of Black Mirror because I haven't
seen it yet.
I'm a few episodes in, and it's already messing with me. So we can talk about that on another video. I'm already like getting skeeved out about that new season.
Right.
But anyway, Last of Us season 2. That's what we're talking about here.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back. In case you haven't heard. And what's really funny is it's literally what I wanted to open up with. Just watching the first couple minutes of the first episode of season 2, I was instantly pulled right back in. Like,
oh yeah,
that tone, that feeling of the
cinematography,
of the games of season 1. Like, we're all back in like right away. Like, and it's weird too because we were talking about this. I haven't watched a playthrough of the second game in a while. So like things were starting to jog my memory, but they were jogging my memories of the second game a lot slower than you. Like, I was picking up on certain things, certain very obvious cues of game stuff that I was getting jogged. But like, also I watched a couple of catch-up videos, like recap videos, not ours. I'm not throwing that out there, but I watched some recap videos of everything that happened in season 1 and everything like that, just to kind of, get back into kind of the feel of the universe that we have.
Be fresh.
Yeah, to kind of be fresh on that. But like, just watching like the first episode, I feel like I know even we even get a 5-year time jump, and it still just feels exactly like we're right back in place. Like nothing really changed. Like it feels like we were recapping this last week. Type of thing. Like, we're instantly back in, and there's a lot of feels to be had, and there's a lot of feels coming up. And we're gonna dance around that until it happens. But Rico, what were some of your instant reactions for episode 1?
Yeah, same thing. As soon as I kind of just started the episode and I kind of just got the sense of the world that we're already getting back into, I was like, okay, this feels really good, especially just again how well shot this show is too, and I'm always I'm a big fan of like aspect ratios and shows, like when you're watching the show in widescreen versus how things look in like a full screen effect, especially if you have like a nice big TV for it too. So like we've been talking about Daredevil and the way they kind of switch aspect ratios for certain moments of the show, but this one is just full screen, like glorious shots from beginning to end, and like the white snowy nature of like Jackson just kind of makes it a little bit more like just makes it stand out just a little bit more for me, and I just really appreciate the way the show is shot, and it makes me really happy that the show is just back overall. But kind of diving into like what the actual episode and stuff gave us, I think it was a really good like introduction for what the story is going to end up being later on as the season progresses. Of course, we have a lot of new characters that need to be introduced, and a lot of different character dynamics that need to be kind of brought forth for not just people who played the game, but also for people who are just watching the show with no real knowledge of what happens in the game too. There's a lot of moving pieces here that kind of need to be introduced. That will be paid off later on, of course. And I even like that they kind of take some non-linear stuff from the game where, where the game kind of works and kind of goes back and forth between flashbacks and stuff. They kind of take some of those flashbacks and present them in a little more linear way. They kind of give you a little bit more context to some of the stuff that kind of happens in the game with more for shock value, and then you get the context of it later on. So I think that them building up to it is a cool, different approach to take to the adaptation as opposed to just being, a shot-for-shot remake of the game. Of course, there are shot-for-shot remakes of certain scenes, of course, like the dance scene for New Year's Eve and stuff, which was a phenomenal scene. From the way it was shot to also the way it was acted by all the actors too. And that's also a thing I love about this too. A lot of the new characters that were cast this season are perfectly cast too. I particularly love Dina is a great a new addition, of course, played by Isabella Merced. And she's gonna have a pretty big year coming up with being Hawk Girl and Superman as well. She was great in Alien Romulus. So she's kind of like one of those next up and coming names to kind of look out for too. So yeah, I just think it was a great introductory episode that kind of sets up all the moving pieces that we're going to see moving forward. And it still gives us some good moments of like suspension action as well.
Yeah, and you said it, like, one thing, we're dancing around the issue, and people that have played the games already know what we're talking about that is to come.
We're not going to spoil what's going to happen in the game for sure.
But to be someone who has not played the second game and to be going into this season, holy shit.
Like, oh yeah, it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster.
Yes,
and that's a nice way of saying it.
right. But I am happy that they didn't start like at the exact same spot, and we do get, like you said, we kind of get, some of these events that were flashbacks. We're getting them in real time. It's a cool way to do that, because we get to feel them for what they are and not feel them for like, a flashback that, we're kind of thinking a different way about upon, revisiting them type of thing. So it's
because it opens with a shot of Abby and her friends too, to give that a lot of extra context for that character too, just so you actually have a sense of who she is when we finally meet her. And then of course we have guys like Jesse, of course, and then even mentioning new characters like Gail too, which I'll get into her in my takeaways, of course. But the way they're even able to incorporate new characters like that, and then also reestablish some of the relationships with the characters that we met last season, like Joel and Tommy, and Tommy's wife. I can't remember Tommy's wife's name now. So that's my apologies, but just kind of establishing that family dynamic between them, and just all the relationships, the relationship between Joel and Ellie, of course. So yeah, there's just so much that they had to like really get in there and just like make sure that we were caught up to speed on all these things, and then we can get right into like the nitty gritty.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, why don't you kick off big takeaways?
So yeah, I mentioned Gail, who's played by Catherine O'Hara in this season. She's a brand new character for the show that she wasn't in the games before, and she plays the widow of Eugene, who's another character I'll talk about later on. But I just kind of like the way that they're kind of tying stuff that is part of the game, but also like wasn't necessarily shown as part of the game's storyline necessarily. It's just kind of like a lot of throwaway lines that they use that are kind of used to build context around kind of like their situations, like Ellie and Dina, like they're just their whole friendship. So, but I just love the therapy scene with her and Joel is just like super great. And one, the way the exchange of payment, which is I thought was just really funny too, which I think was going to be a nice little is a nice reference to something that we'll probably see later on in the game too. That's not too much of more of a location that they go to. So I think that's really great, because I think Gail even mentions that Eugene had a nice little warehouse of goodies that she that didn't compare to the stuff that Joel brings to her, which I thought was just a hilarious thing. But the way that she kind of recognizes that Joel's kind of like abusing the use of therapy, I guess you should say. He's kind of looking for a specific result out of therapy, so he's trying to kind of manipulate the situation to get it. And Gail immediately, after having a few drinks, of course, decides that she's going to say the thing that she's afraid to say. I just love the way that she kind of like psychs herself up to it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, like I'm calling bullshit on like this whole act, and you need to you need to tell me what's going on. And then it brings her to bring out the feelings that she has about Joel in regards to what he did to Eugene and stuff, which is a new kind of aspect that they're bringing into the the show that's different from the games,
Mhm.
from what I've seen. So, yeah, just that whole character dynamic and what that could mean for like Joel's character arc, when we go to revisit that later on is going to be very interesting to see. But it's also I like that they kind of use this as a switch off from the beginning of the game is basically this scene, but it's Joel talking with Tommy and not Gail.
Right.
So I think that's really cool. So yeah, I just think it was a really cool character dynamic to see, especially because Catherine O'Hara is such a legendary kind of comedic actress in her own right too. She's of course the mom from Home Alone, and then Schitt's Creek and stuff. And now she's in the new the studio show with Seth Rogen, like that's airing at the same time as this. So you get to see like a comedic take from her, and then you get to see like this kind of like dark take from her as well too. So yeah, just a great performance from two great actors, and it was probably my favorite scene of the episode.
Yeah, you could feel like the I don't even want to say tension. It's just kind of like the emotion,
The hatred that she had for her.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
heavy emotion
Mhm,
type of thing. Because
mhm.
she's saying what I do really like is she's saying everything out loud, and
Yeah,
she's saying like, I understand that you had to do it, but I still hate you. Like you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that like I just yeah it was an incredible scene. Like
yeah,
I
absolutely.
very very good, like very dramatic, very just heavy emotional scene type of thing to be able to see, to be able to like watch,
Mhm.
because you could kind of really feel that in that moment. But yeah, another scene I wanted to talk about, and why I wanted to save the word for tension and suspense, is the moment where Ellie actually falls into the ground floor of the abandoned grocery store.
Yeah, what a fall, by the way, dude. I'm like, she
Woo!
just gets up from that. Come on.
I'm okay.
Yeah, dude. I'm busting a knee or something.
She landed right. She landed on her backpack. It's fine. It's
To be
fine.
young.
It's fine.
To be young.
But anyway, we get like this, kind of moment of like so much creepiness and so much tension in this scene because, right before that, we had Dina and Ellie dealing with like clickers.
Yeah,
And at
just a
this,
clicker.
yeah. And at this point, it kind of seems like, at least in smaller numbers, this is just a normal thing. They're used to
Yeah.
this. They can take them down. Like, even Ellie took one down with a knife. Like,
Yeah, just
holy
like in the game too, the
yeah,
stealth kills. Like they really show that these are like they've leveled up their confidence in taking on these things. Yeah, in small numbers, of course.
right.
And then of course, yeah, it was really cool. And then again, using like the brick or is it the bottles, the
Yeah, the
distraction, like
bottle
the
in
way
this one.
they
Yeah,
integrate like game mechanics into the scene too. I'm like, even the way they climbed up the truck because that's
yeah.
like there's only so many ways you can get up levels in the game. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, attention to detail.
but then we get like this witness of, oh, this has become a normal thing. This is not a big deal. Like,
Mhm.
Ellie can take them out type of thing. We get instantly the shock of kind of, I put like an advanced infected, like you know what I mean? Like we get this, they're learning, they're getting smarter. This is a
Yeah.
stalker infected, and it's able to kind of trick Ellie in this situation multiple times, not even just, once. It tricks her like a number of times. It doesn't charge at her like what she's used to. It
Oh yeah,
also
it's a stalker.
it makes sounds like, and she turns around, whips her gun around, shoots, and it's not even there anymore type of
Mhm.
thing. Like it's like this is something to be scared about because I mean, we get, the scene before that where Ellie is like, this is a common thing, taking out like a clicker or a very small number
Right.
of clickers type of thing. And this one stalker is able to completely outsmart Ellie, in this scene. I mean, obviously she survived type of thing, not without getting bit again
Mhm.
at this point. Bite number 2 for Ellie.
Yeah, got a little nibble.
Yeah, just a little taste. But it's really cool that now we've kind of upped the stakes because now we're not just dealing with, clickers. Now we're dealing with kind of the stalkers and any other advancements in kind of the infected moving forward. And I'm wondering how like the townspeople would deal with, the advanced infected type of thing. If it's able to kind of outsmart a person, how many of these could outsmart like the entire town or overrun the entire town? Like it'd be a pretty small number to just like if they hunted in a pack of like, I don't know, 5, like you know what I mean? Like it could be a lot of trouble for the town. So I'm really
the
curious.
stalkers are scary as shit in the game.
Yeah.
When you go out to good, it's the same kind of thing too, where Ellie's like yelling at her, like, "Come on, like run at me, like what are you doing?" And I remember Ellie doing that in the game as well. She gets so frustrated by the fact that these things are just kind of creeping by, and they would just, because in the game you'd just be walking down the hallway and they would just creep across on one side and the other.
Yeah.
Just like, oh crap, I gotta hide from one of these things. And so, I love the way that they use that to introduce a new threat into the the next aspect of the show too. And it only makes me wonder how they can keep stepping that up, because it's not going to be the only one.
Exactly. But the coolest introduction, like that was the coolest introduction of one, was when she doesn't even see it and we see it behind her go like that, like on the top of one, a little
top right of the frame each time. Yeah.
Holy
really
shit.
Well shot. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, that made my skin start to crawl. Like I got goosebumps. Like when I saw that, I was like, oh no. Like, oh man. And she was like, yeah, I don't hear any clicking. It's fine. Holy shit. But yeah, I can't wait to see kind of, how they up the stakes. And that's what they had to do. They instantly, up the stakes, showed us that like, yeah, there's going to be bigger threats and there's going to be more to this. So that was really cool. You want to do some predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna kick off predictions. Just with kind of along the exact same lines of what I was talking about, kind of upping the stakes and kind of showing us that there's going to be evolutions to the infection, the affected, and we were talking about this is one of the differences between the game universe and the show universe type of thing, where we haven't had any introduction of spores. But we do have the growth inside the pipes, which, at first we're introduced to the pipes, like, having roots and stuff in them very early in the episode, but nobody thinks anything of it. They just go, oh shit, we've got to break all the pipes and, clear out all these weeds and everything like that, which is something that actually happens in real life. Like, something gets into the pipe system and you have to clear them all out. But then when we had that at the end of the episode with the stuff crawling towards the lit firework, I'm really interested to see what's gonna all hell is gonna break loose at some point with those and with that. And I don't know if it's gonna somehow get into some kind of water supply again, or what's gonna happen. I don't know. I can't wait for the next. The rest of the season. But Rico, what are some of your predictions moving forward?
So it's really hard to talk about this without
I'm dancing around the issue
what's
too.
Going to happen, of course. I'm obviously just looking forward to watching the story progress and all the stuff that they integrate from the game, and even the little subtle changes that they make to kind of make it fit more of a TV format. But at the same time, I'm also looking forward to the original kind of content that they throw in there as well, like the stuff that we didn't get in the game. I'm particularly looking forward to an episode that we get to focus on Eugene, because he's going to be played by Joe Pantoliano, who's just one of the great character actors of our time. I feel like there's so many movies I could reference that he's been in and just been awesome in. I'm really excited to see him in this show, and as Eugene, who's a character that's never seen in the game, but merely he's mentioned a lot through dialogue lines with Ellie and Dina, specifically because she in the game he's actually someone who is he dies of a stroke, I think. So he's lucky enough to kind of live in an old age and kind of just kind of die a little more of a natural way, as opposed to being bitten by an infected or something like that. Dying of a stroke is obviously no natural way, I guess, as I say, not natural causes, but it's something that's more common for people of that age to probably happen to them. But the fact that they changed his ending so significantly here, because obviously we learned in this episode that Joel killed him. I'm very interested to learn what the circumstances leading up to that are. We do know that Eugene was a firefly at some point in his life too, so I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of history between them there as far as fireflies. I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe Eugene has an idea of what Joel's mission was supposed to be with Ellie, and then if you found out that Ellie came up with Ellie, that probably caused some tension between them or something like that. What did you do? Why'd she come back? What happened essentially? I'm very interested to see what that's going to be like. I'm just excited to kind of get to know this character that we've heard so much about in the game, and now we get to kind of see in a physical form.
Yeah, it's really just like you were saying. It's really cool how they're able to, both recreate, these impactful scenes right out of the video game, and then also build out, very, very small characters and give them kind of the lives of their own type of thing, and tell their story and kind of go off and be able to kind of expand on things to make this feel like a fully fleshed out kind of cinematic universe type of thing. You know what I mean? More so than just like what the video game storyline is. We can take these little, like these moments and these episodes to kind of, fully flesh out other characters that we didn't really get the opportunity to in the video games. So it's really cool that we can kind of get that. I mean, we had that in season 1, which was great. And I think it was a great mix of, staying true to the storyline of the first game, and then also kind of, building out this universe and making it feel like a real story and a real, lived in world type of thing.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see the debates that the season and the overall story brings up too, because obviously one of the great debates of the first game and the first season is Joel's decision at the end of the game, and the whole morality surrounding that decision. And I think that this story is only going to kind of enhance that discussion when it comes to, especially in terms of like good and bad people, or good and evil and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot about perspective. And I'm excited to see kind of the conversations that are going to be surrounded by that, because the more I talk about this game with people and see different sides of how people interpret different things in these stories, it's one of the more incredible things I've seen in video games. Like I've never really seen a game that really brings about discussions like the way this games has. So yeah, I'm excited to see how people who just watch this as a show are going to take this in, and what that's going to bring out in a wider discussion and like the more greater public.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be really interesting to kind of see, to read about, to hear about, stuff like that. Like, I mean, what's perfect is we are in the day and age of, like TikTok and Instagram Reels, where we can kind of get a lot of people's opinions on.
Everyone's got to take. Yeah,
exactly. And that's that time. Like other times it was like long form format, like with just YouTube and stuff like that. Now we've got these, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes from another person, all this stuff. So we can ingest a lot more ends of opinions and stuff like that. So really cool to look forward to. We know there's going to be heavy stuff, and like we said,
ride, dude.
Yeah, no spoilers of what's definitely going to happen very soon, but be prepared. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of the first episode of season 2 for The Last of Us? And what are you most looking forward to as this season progresses? And kind of what characters are you most looking forward to kind of see more of their story being built out and kind of followed more so than, maybe just more so than the game that we got? Maybe we can get some more insights with other characters and kind of just, living in this world again. It's kind of interesting to just be back. And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.